Just answering questions with waptek. Someone asked me a pretty straightforward questions. Are we fooling ourselves using these non-tracking search sites? And I'm going to include plugins, functions, and encrypted email, proxies, or are we just screwed? Okay, this is a very, very good question. I have no clue. I do have a clue, but it's not really useful. The internet provider you use, whatever it is, whether it's a coffee shop like I use coffee shops almost exclusively for that reason. If you're doing it through a internet cafe, the airport, a motel, hotel, no-tel, satellite phone, cell phone, or your own paid-for thing that directly links to your building, or someone else is hijacking it. The fact is that if you use any service on the internet controlled by anyone, even a single piece of hardware, like a Wi-Fi router, can be compromised or deliberately bugged by the person who owns it. It's trivial to make it to where you are not anonymous and you are tracked constantly. Add to that the fact that even if you make yourself anonymous, your actions on the internet make you trackable as a unique individual with specific tendencies. Unless you really, really go outside your comfort zone or just do random shit all the time, you're going to be profiled and made into a file, and eventually all these little companies get together and start comparing notes. You will become a real, actual, predictable, terrifyingly accurate virtual you. The whole point of this metadata crawling mass is to create a straw man version of you that effectively they don't even need to track you anymore. They just know what you're going to want and not want, and they'll apply it to you without paying any attention to your wants and needs after a certain point. See also the sidebar over there when you're watching this video. Never notice how it either really matches what you want or goes out of its way not to give you anything like what you're looking for? Carrot and stick. Facebook, same thing. Zuckerberg getting involved in somebody years ago, going ahead and doing some large-scale thing where they did, well, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people filled out those little fun surveys. Yeah, same organization that did that is trying to manipulate the election this year for Donald Trump and for other people, and for all we know, for Democrats too. It's all marketing. Amazon wants your data. eBay wants your data. Craigslist does. For all you know, your mom is selling it off for an extra, coupon that she got. Yeah, if you do those special deals and try to save some money, they want your data and they will collect it. If I log on to the coffee shop, one of the coffee shops I log into, it records the MAC address, which is a unique ID code imprinted into every piece of hardware, mostly because it makes it easier to immediately and instantly organize all the people in the room. You just use the MAC address, and that's your identity as far as the network's concerned. That's supposed to be visible. But Google, for instance, if they're running the Wi-Fi at, let's say, Starbucks, uses that to uniquely identify you. So I spoof it on my machine and then type in someone else's email address that's been sending me spam continually for a year, and put in my channel name and not my real name, and the actual zip code I'm in, because I don't want to falsify that. He gets the spam. He also gets to see everything I do. He got locked out of his account about a year and a half ago for spamming. But it's still there, and he keeps getting the junk mail from Google, who shut it down. They won't acknowledge it's shut down because they shut it down, but they want that email. You get the idea. So I'm literally masquerading as somebody who sent me junk mail for years. But anyway, and kept using the same email address. Anyway, but are we fooling ourselves using non-tracking websites? No. Most of the websites, if they're actually doing something right, make it to where they never have to get involved in any of this by not having any data to track. They expunge it every day. The worst case scenario for you is if you did something really important that whatever government wants, they'll contact them and say, you're still legally under European Union rules or the United States rules, lock down all your data and don't expunge it. That's the best case they can go for. And the company will simply not expunge anything until the RAM fills up and they crash their site. The military or government or junta or Putin himself shows up and says, copy all your data right now about this user. Okay. Anything else? No. Clear. Because they need the RAM space. By running everything through RAM, it actually makes it easier electrically and computationally. You just don't store anything on a hard drive. Because you don't want to, and this way you don't have to. And it gives you a really good excuse to buy ass loads of random access memory and not use any hard drives. Because all you have to have is a power outage, and you don't have any responsibility of having anybody's data. And if the company also happens to host websites that way, the websites are stored on the hard drives as backups. They run everything in RAM. But the idea here is the companies don't have to have any data retention policy because they don't do it. Many sites do that. So the FBI van or alphabet soup van that's, suspiciously named just shows up and puts their server on and caches everything, and either collects just pure metadata, or even better, just sits there and builds a virtual U and reports that back. It takes up less space. If someone knows that every day at exactly, I'm going to make up a fake profile right now. Let's say I get up every day at noon, latest and earliest 9 a.m. Let's say I'm a late nighter, because I am, and I stay up till 1 a.m. and I'm on the net. Don't know where I'm at between those times, but that doesn't matter. And they find that I constantly look up squirrels on YouTube, weird conspiracy theories, and randomly and terrifyingly how neutron bombs work. One of those things is going to be more important to them. It's going to be the squirrels, you know it. But anyway, the reasoning behind doing this is that they only have to record neutron bomb, squirrels, 9 a.m., noon, 1 a.m. And then all the MAC addresses I keep swiping out, and all the IP addresses I go through. And this is a really small file. They don't have to record every damn thing I do. That metadata is more efficient and more accurate. It just requires that their machine immediately run an artificial intelligence routine on all the data and continually update the profile's generalized data. They don't want your specifics. They don't care that you looked up porn 2 years ago. They care that you don't normally look up porn. But you look up, like I did today, how the compression levels in a jet engine works, or even more suspiciously, literally how a neutron bomb works. I think that data is more valuable because it's a one-paragraphic example of you, and it can be made accurate. And it requires a lot less electricity and storage. So little, in fact, that they could keep more data on more people. The they I'm referring to is every government. It isn't just the United States. It's not just the U.S. Patriot Act I hate. It's all of it. And we've gotten... Should I quote the... We've become exceedingly good at it. Do I have to really start quoting the Colonel Sanders-looking character in the movie The Matrix? We aren't fooling ourselves by using non-tracking sources and sites as long as they just simply have no data retention of any kind. We are fooling ourselves to think that that wouldn't attract the attention of people wanting to record it and act as a man-in-the-middle proxy and jack that information up. The simple relays that the internet uses are transparent. Most of them are designed to be. They just push data along. And the data chain can be erased, but it's still there. And it records source and destination, even if those two don't ever know about each other. That's how the internet has to work. It has to work as a very reliable system, originally created to be almost impossible to shut down or destroy. Now that it's international, it is literally, there is no kill switch, because there isn't. Otherwise China would have ran it a long time ago. Think about it. It's in everybody's best interest this system stay in place. So how do you hide from it? Let's just get to that at the 9 minute and 25 here, because it's much more useful to you. You don't. You create a conspicuous version of yourself that does all sorts of things. Just be yourself. But if you're trying to be hidden, don't be yourself. Go to a coffee shop you've never gone to. Go through a Wi-Fi. Don't log into any of your accounts. Clear all your cookies. Use a brand new copy of a downloadable web browser that's a portable one. Make sure it does not divulge any information about your machine at all. It literally refuses to do so. You can do that. Many of them already do that by default. Sign into your alternate version of yourself, your Captain Midnight account or whatever. One of these is used for very conspicuous consumption of the internet, and that's it. The other identity is what you use when you really need to. You could call it your cyber bug out bag. Be a gray man or woman. It's not that hard. You can just be yourself. But should you worry about these things? I don't. Does your computer have tracking software on it? Yeah, it's the operating system and the web browser. Anything you didn't write, you can't control. It's all assumed to be compromised. If you don't make the lock and learn how to pick it, you haven't really locked your door. Learn to be a really good locksmith and a lock picker. And remember, for the same reason hackers and crackers are different, being able to pick a lock doesn't make you a locksmith. But if you're a locksmith, you better know how to pick a damn lock. So, you might want to look at this from the other end of the spectrum. And then stay there. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.